welcome to another episode of Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. Hope you guys had a great week so far, and we're gonna get on with this trial covering Nagito's death. So, I think I have a few more skills I can make use of. Menacing focus. Okay, that might help. Infinitely unlimited flame. What do I have? Okay. Oh my lord, that is infinitely useful. What all do I have useful again? I have nothing useful and I only have 6 skill points? Oh wait, I can have everything. I think. Menacing focus. Yes! My very low stockpile of skills can be utilized. Alright, truth bullets, just quick overview. Alright, so let us see what happens. Trial
now then,
begins.
Let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial.
Once again, Monokuma, do we really have to?
During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer is and vote for who done it. If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong person...
You know, I'm just glad this isn't like the 5th trial of the last game, if I'm remembering the order correctly, but it was a fraudulent trial.
I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will earn the right to leave this island.
Monami, you're not tied up for once.
Oh my! Monami? My cute little sister? You're awfully quiet. What's happened to you?
This is so different. Monami?
You've ascended the ladder of adulthood and reached the moon? Because you're a rabbit?
Monami?
Chesto! One more time!
What's going on?
Jeez! How about this one?
I think Monokuma's bothered by the fact that Monami's not responding to him.
This will be my final blow!
I doubt that.
It's useless.
Please stop! I feel bad for Monomi.
Why do you feel bad for Monami, Sanya?
You're right. Now's not the time for me to horse around with Monami. The class trial has started, after all.
Yes!
The victim this time is Nagito, who is attempting to reveal the traitor for everyone's sake. Who in the world killed him? I'm so curious.
But you already know.
If he was killed for trying to reveal the traitor, that traitor is obviously the killer. They were trying to shut Nagito up.
Potentially.
No, that might not be it.
What? What do you mean, Kazuichi?
Huh? Are you trying to protect the traitor? They didn't call out when we were in danger. Wait. Don't tell me you're the traitor.
Fiiko, calm down.
Don't say something so stupid. There's no way in hell I'm the traitor.
Now that's more like it. Why don't you guys hurry and start arguing already?
Please don't let this turn into, accusations over who's the traitor. We need to actually get work done, people. What? Okay, let's see. What did I
Killer
do?
didn't take Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely definitely the bomb's hiding place.
Damn it!
That was not. No.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body.
That
because the
focus
killer
for it.
tortured-
Oh
So
my
that's
lord.
why what were they trying to? Definitely the bomb's. If so,
Is whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
I wish Monokuma's camp.
The kill. I'm telling you, they were.
the reason Nagito's.
It's because the killer tortured.
So that's why he was. What were they trying to? Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
Nope.
Damn it!
I was.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, this
Is whoever found the.
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
the reason Nagito's body was covered.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
Okay.
No, that's wrong.
Of all the vaguest entries of this trial,
But Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape, so he wouldn't have been able to confess anything.
yeah.
If he was being tortured for information, they wouldn't have taped his mouth like that.
I'm prepared.
And this is happening so quickly. Oh my lord.
Ah, I just realized it. It's a trap.
Kazuichi, don't you dare.
Trap?
Stupid Hajime. You got caught in that trap.
Or did you? Oh lord.
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped shut, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk. But that was the trap. He wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Yeah.
Pay attention. This is how it went. First, the killer tortured and got information about the bomb's location. Crap! Pay attention. This is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, they duct taped his mouth shut. Crap!
It is duct tape
Pay
again.
attention. This is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, allow me
That's
to
what I
conclude
was
those
looking for.
words.
Double dose of duct tape for you, Kazuichi.
No, there's no doubt Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape before he was beat up.
What did you say?
Yep.
Who cares about the duct tape? We might as well settle this with rock, paper, scissors.
Hold the phone, Akane.
We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his mouth before the torture even began.
Yep.
Why do you always side with Hajime? Do you have a crush on him or something?
Kazuichi. I think he is Hajime.
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off Nagito's mouth, right?
Yep.
The blood on Nagito's face wasn't under the duct tape, remember?
Yep.
The blood on his face came from his arm wounds, which means the duct tape was on his face before his arms were even wounded.
And the duct tape had a lot of crinkles around his mouth.
Yep.
He must have been struggling to open his mouth under the duct tape.
Perhaps the duct tape was used so we wouldn't be able to scream. Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape wasn't for torture. It was to keep his mouth shut.
Yep.
However, if they wanted to seal his mouth, they did not need to hurt him with such ferocity.
That's beyond the point of argument right now, Sonya.
They probably had a deep grudge against Nagito.
Unfortunately.
Then, are you saying the killer was trying to make him suffer?
Probably.
If so, it's friggin' crazy. Did they go psycho or something?
It would seem so, Akane.
No, they didn't just go crazy. Whoever did this must be one crafty bastard. If not, they wouldn't have taken the time to set fire to the crime scene and destroy all the evidence.
The warehouse fire was for destroying evidence?
Was it?
We can't think of any other reason.
But who could have done that? When the fire occurred, everyone in this room was gathered in front of the warehouse.
And that was the trap.
Yeah. And right after I opened the warehouse door, the flames started burning from the very back. Which means it is plausible to think that nobody here set the fire.
Hold the
Killer
phone.
isn't one of us. But that's not the case, huh? I mean, it's wishful thinking.
Even if it was only a coincidence, the timing was just too perfect.
Based on the pattern up until now, we should suspect that some kind of setup was used for this. Some kind of setup? Like what? I do not know that, but that has been the pattern before.
I'm guessing none of you noticed the Domino Monokuma panel file.
That's our Miss Sonia. You have such an amazingly high intellect.
Kazuichi, you are not helping.
Alrighty then. Let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks. Is that okay, Miss Sonia?
It's a group effort, Kazuichi.
Damn right it is!
And you agreed to him about something for once. I'm shocked. Okay, torture rope, one rope, spiral enough duct tape, oil ladle. That's what I need.
The direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
They probably just threw the lighter. Based on the shape of that oil lighter, it can stand upright while the flame is lit.
If they tipped over the lighter in some way, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way? Maybe they used invisible thread.
There should have been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
Or perhaps
I do.
opening the door caused...
I missed the
agree with
Monokuma
that.
paddles, but I managed to find it. Yay! Alright,
I also agree that opening the door is what started the fire.
Yep.
Just as I thought, it was the wind pressure. A dust devil blown here from glorious Japan!
that's not it, Sonya.
No, not wind pressure. They probably used the Monokuma panels. A huge number of tipped-over Monokuma panels were found at the crime scene, right?
Yep.
It looked like they were scattered everywhere, but some were laying on top of each other in a single line. Just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the fire's origin.
Yep.
Does that mean anything?
The killer probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create a domino effect.
A domino effect. You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and tipping them over?
Yes, exactly that, Akane.
In place of those tiles, the killer used the Monokuma panels. So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second,
That's a very convenient map.
and from there, they fell like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
Yep.
But wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were falling over?
You know, someone had to kick the door down.
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse, so we wouldn't notice them.
Yep.
So the reason the warehouse was dark was to hide the domino effect.
And one more thing. There was something else the killer did to hide the domino effect, right?
The music.
I see!
You're talking about the MP3 player.
Yep.
That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
Yeah, odd, ominous music. That's all that was playing.
That's it. So the strange sound was actually the sound of the panels falling.
Yep.
But those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right? Looking back on it, it was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
It was stuck. Akane throws reason out the window. We all know this by now.
Ah, so the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel.
Yes.
And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the lighter.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's how the warehouse caught on fire. At least, that's how it looks.
You don't look so sure.
Are any of us sure, Kazuichi?
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door.
Because the panel was blocking it, right?
But why would a panel be able to block the door so well?
With the blocked doorway, there wasn't enough space for a person to fit through, right?
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem. I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
Yes.
I see!
The killer couldn't have left in theory.
If the panel was so close to the door that it could barely be opened, the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right?
Now that you mention it.
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
But the rest of us were outside.
We were all outside the warehouse, you know.
Based on the patterns up until now, you don't have to think so hard. There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
Okay.
You don't mean...
Naito?
Hajime? What do you mean?
This is my answer.
I mean,
What
how?
if it was Nagito?
My only question is how.
Why'd you bring him up? He's the victim, you know.
He wasn't just the victim. Maybe.
Huh?
Not just the victim? What does that mean?
Good question.
He was the victim. And he was the perpetrator, too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? Don't be stupid. His body was covered in torture wounds. Or did you already forget?
Yeah, and we still don't know why.
Are you saying those were all self-inflicted?
I don't know about that for you, Hiko.
But
Honestly, I don't.
Nagito might do something like that. Don't you think?
That's not the issue. He was tied up, remember?
All but save for one hand.
Even for a creep like Nagito, it'd be impossible for him to tie up his own arms and legs.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, as long as you understand.
It seems we need to discuss how Nagito was able to tie himself up.
Oh dear.
Need to discuss?
Evidently.
That's not necessary at all. No matter how much you think about it, it's clearly impossible.
Bond rope.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible.
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
I have no comments to that.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible.
Tying just the leg, tying both arms.
You couldn't do much with. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
Nope.
Crap! To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible.
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with. It'd be impossible.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up, that's obvious.
Tying just the leg, tying both arms would.
You couldn't do much with. It'd be impossible.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Darn it.
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty? To actually tie up, that's obvious.
Tying just the leg, tying both arms would.
You couldn't do much with. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use.
Or if you use your front tail.
I missed again.
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty
I
joke?
also have a feeling that's not it.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible.
Tying just the leg, tying both arms would.
You couldn't do much with. It'd be impossible.
How about if you use your teeth?
Nope.
Crap! To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible.
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with. It'd be impossible if you were.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible.
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with it. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your...
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arm, that's obviously
Tying just the legs is tying both arms would...
You couldn't do much with the free. It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use... Or if you use your...
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke? To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Darn it.
Crap!
Alright, this one's stumping me
To
hard.
actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible.
I missed.
Tying just the leg, tying both arms would...
You couldn't do much with. It'd be impossible.
How about if you use... Or if you use your...
Dirty joke!
And time's up. Great. Redo. Why is this one being a pain? I have a feeling I'm overthinking this again.
We will never give up.
To actually tie up your own arms and legs.
That's it?
No, that's wrong. Hold on a second. Isn't that premise flawed?
What? I mean, it's no mistake that his arms and legs were...
No, it shouldn't have been both of his arms.
Yeah.
The rope on his right arm was completely burnt up. Based on that, you can't say he was tied up.
That was just burned by the fire. He should have been tied up before then.
It burned because of the fire. Like you said, it might look like that. But that was part of the trap. There's concrete evidence that proves it.
I managed to get it, thankfully.
I see.
His white sleeve.
Take a close look at his right sleeve. Even though the rope was burnt up, his sleeve wasn't burned at all.
Yep.
A burn like this, no matter how you think about it, is unnatural. That rope was burned in advance so it would look like it was burned in the fire.
Then Nagito's right arm wasn't tied up, right? He was able to move it freely, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that should be the case.
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want.
No, I don't think he wants to.
Akane, you should not give it away for free. Make sure they pay you first.
What in the world, Sonya?
That's definitely wrong.
Thank you, Fuyuhiko. What in the world is that exchange?
Fine. I just gotta get a Benjamin from him before I let him touch me, right?
Oh my lord. No, Akane, just no.
That's not what I meant. I'm talking about Nagito.
What?
I mean, even if his right hand wasn't tied up, the knife was still stabbed into it, you know?
It's impossible to stab a knife into your right hand with your right hand. Ah, that much is obvious.
What if you used your left?
Hajime, you tricked me. Give me back that Benjamin.
He never got a Benjamin.
Hold on. There should be a way.
Yeah.
Then hurry up and spill it.
If it's something lame, I'll make you give back the Benjamin with 10,000% interest.
Really, Akane? Oh dear. Watcher and Bono touch that and Bono on human panels.
Even if...
That's what I need. I need the left hand information.
How could he stab his right hand with his right hand?
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand that way?
It would take a... Wait, he's the ultimate lucky
Is he a
student.
throwing knife expert? Maybe he propped the knife somehow? And slammed his right hand down on it? Propped it onto what? If he just propped the knife, he could have used his bound left hand.
If you're tied up, your arms won't bend that easily. We don't know if his left hand could even reach his right hand.
I have a feeling I know what it is.
Even if Nagito's right hand would... How could he stab his right hand with...
If he threw the knife into the air and let the knife fall, could he stab his hand out? Is he a throwing knife expert? Maybe he propped the knife somehow?
Yep,
I agree
that's it right there. That at least explains Monokuma plushie, thankfully.
The life-size Monokuma plushie. He must have used that to prop the knife.
Makes sense. That's why there was a big hole in the plushie's stomach.
Yep.
He inserted the knife handle into that hole to prop it up. Then he slammed his hand onto it.
Probably.
If that's it, he had to place the plushie near him. And it also explains the mysterious blood on the plushie.
Yep.
So the blood on the plushie came from Nagito after he stabbed the knife into his own right hand.
I see. So that's the trick.
Yeah.
But for a moment, I seriously thought Monokuma died or something.
Look, I wish it was that easy, Akane, but you can't simply punt the little bipolar barrel into space.
A bleeding plushie is super scary. It's got the same fear factor as a doll whose hair grows too long.
Monokuma, just stop.
After stabbing his hand, he no longer needed the plushie. So he cast it off toward the fire's origin point.
He probably thought the fire would incinerate it and destroy the evidence.
Probably.
So what do you think now, Fuyuhiko?
I get what you're saying about the wound on his right hand, but there's still one huge problem.
Okay.
The spear. Basically, you're saying Nagito committed suicide by impaling himself with a spear, right?
And that's very easily explained, actually.
If you think about the order, getting killed by the spear should have been the last thing to happen to Nagito. If that's true, how is that possible? He can't grab a spear with his right hand if a knife is stabbed into it and his left hand was all tied up.
I can think of something.
Then he probably took the spear first, and as he endured the pain, he stabbed the knife into his right hand.
I don't think so, Akane.
There is a limit to his constitution.
Unfortunately, though, it very well is.
If you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
I'm sorry, Didn't catch all that.
Kazuichi, come back to us.
Like I said, if you got penetrated by something so big and thick, you would die instantly.
Say it one more time. I need to
Someone
break.
knock him out, please.
Hey, bastard, you better cut it out.
Thank you, Fihiko.
Like she said, in that condition, it's very difficult to stab yourself with a spear.
Unless you set it up to be dropped on you.
It'd be hard to use a spear with a knife stab into your right hand while your left hand is tied up. So you're saying it's impossible?
Not impossible.
But no matter what I think, I can't believe Nagito's death was caused by someone else. I also agree with that. To think that one of us could kill someone with such cruelty, I could never believe that.
You say you can't believe it? You just don't want to believe it, right?
Monokuma, stop.
But that's why you keep getting betrayed over and over again, right?
It's
Same
because
goes
of
for
you.
This time too.
You keep on doing stuff, giving us motives, setting off people.
You just shut your mouth. It's against the rules to interfere with everyone.
I wish that was the case, Monomi.
If you even think about doing anything, I have a plan of my own.
Monami sassing me.
She finally speaks.
But it's just as Monokuma said. We've been betrayed over and over again so far. This might also be the same. Calling this a suicide takes too much for granted, and it's too convenient.
Is it?
Then are you saying there is a killer among us, Kazuichi?
Of course, that doesn't include Miss Sonia and me.
Alright, thank you, Kazuichi.
As Kazuichi said, it's true we've been constantly betrayed. But even if I'm betrayed again, I still want to believe in everyone.
Why, thank you, Chiaki.
No matter how many times I may be betrayed, I still want to believe in everyone.
I also want to believe that there's no killer. But suicide is unimaginable.
Do you really think so?
But you said it too. It'd be impossible for him to stab himself with a spear in his condition.
She didn't say it would be impossible.
I did say difficult, but I never said impossible.
Yep.
I feel that there's some way he could have stabbed himself with that spear.
What kind of way?
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's impossible to figure out by myself. So let's think about it together.
In the name of teamwork.
That's how. We made it this far up till now.
Yes, unfortunately though, we are in a room full of introverts and people who can't get their minds on straight. Or out of the gutter. I'm just looking at you, Kazuichi, as I'm saying that. That's beside the point.
Everyone working together.
Yes.
All right, let's do this.
Yes. Okay. What you guys got? Left hand.
How did Nagito stab himself with a spear? Let's work together and think this through. When the spear stabbed Nagito, his right hand was covered by the knife, right?
In theory.
He was only able to move his left hand.
But his left hand was also tied up.
Then that rules out his left hand.
That's what I was
No,
waiting
that's
on.
wrong.
Hold on. It's still too early to dismiss the possibility that he used his left hand.
Yep.
Why? I mean, his left hand was tied up, you know?
It was, but at the same time, there was an abnormality with it. The
But
Kazuichi.
there was something off about his left hand.
Yes.
The bloodstain on the palm of his hand. Don't you think it looked somewhat strange?
Yes.
He only had blood on the lower area of his palm. Beyond that point, the bloodstain suddenly cuts off, right?
Yeah, as if he was holding on to something and that's only the exposed skin got covered.
When the blood splattered, that's as far as it reached, right?
No, because it's on the also on the back of his fingers.
That settles the description of that blood stain, but it's not the only unnatural blood stain. Look, there's blood on the back of his hand, around the middle joints of his fingers.
Yep.
Like you said, it looks like an unnatural blood stain, but what's wrong with that?
We might need to think and use our imaginations for a bit.
That's the only way you guys can get it through this, isn't it, Chiaki? You have to piece things together in your heads.
If there's blood on his palm and the back of his hand, what was his left hand doing as the blood splattered?
Gripping.
I see. When the blood splattered, he was probably gripping with his left hand.
Probably.
That's why there's such a strange-looking bloodstain on his palm and the back of his hand.
Yep.
Was he grabbing his front tail?
Really, Akane? Someone knock her out. I know I don't often say that for Akane, but please someone just knock her out for this trial.
Perish the thought! He was obviously grabbing the spear.
I don't think so.
Now that you mention it, compared to the rest of his body, the wounds on his left arm are pretty mild.
Not really. It's the around an artery, Chiaki.
He probably made his wounds mild on purpose, so he could keep his strength while he gripped the spear.
But even if he held the spear with his tied up left hand, it'd be impossible for him to stab himself.
Hey, Chiaki, what do you think? Hey, don't tell me you're getting sleepy.
Please don't fall asleep on me, Chiaki. You're the only other piece of hope I have in this trial.
At times like this, you should always strike from a good angle. Just like fixing an old TV.
Akane, no. Akane, no.
Oh, I got it. Maybe.
What you got, Chiaki?
Really?
Yeah, like I thought. It's no mistake that Nagito was gripping the spear, I think. However, what's important is what section of the spear he was gripping.
The chain.
I see. That's it. Instead of the handle, Nagito must have been holding on to the cord.
Probably.
There was a metal weight at the tip of the cord, but there were bloodstains on that part too.
Yes.
Plus, the joint between the weight and the cord had a bloodstain shaped like it was cut off by something.
Yep.
Isn't the size of that cut-off section about the same size as a human fist?
Just about.
Ah, you're right. So this is the part Nagito was gripping, huh?
Yes.
And then the blood that was supposed to end up here
Ended up on his hand.
ended up getting on Nagito's left hand.
Yep.
But why is it so important to know which part of the spear he was gripping?
You're not gonna say he gripped the tip of the cord, swung the spear around, and stabbed himself, right?
That's not too far off, actually, Kazuichi.
That is where the clue to solve this mystery resides. Right, Chiaki?
She's thinking that, or think.
I am sorry. Of course this mystery will not be solved that easily.
Is it the skating game time?
It seems we are stuck. Shall we have tea time?
Tanya, really?
At a time like this, how about we stick to the plan to think one step at a time instead of expecting the answers all at once?
That sounds like a solid plan, Chiaki.
That's a long plan name.
One step at a time. What does that mean?
Let's focus on the spear first. Namely, where it was and how it was positioned just before it impaled Nagito.
How it was positioned.
It was pointing straight down right at him. Or it's gonna be Hangman's Gambit. Object dive? Yes! Object dive. Let's hope I don't fail this time. I'm hitting that. No. No. Why? No. Stop. These pop-up barriers are not fair. Just right above him. Come on, guys. That should be obvious. What is that thing? I don't want to know what that thing is. Oh my lord. Are those mines? Ha! Ha! Sailing Gordle.